SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. From personal banking to growing your business or buying a home, our expert guidance makes it simple. We're more than a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. That's right. Hey folks, time for part two. By way of yesterday, part one, because I coerced my guest yesterday, and I appreciate her. Before I get there, visit Mississippi.org. She understands it greatly. She makes a huge economic impact on our Delta like you wouldn't believe. Celebrating that little delicacy we call the Delta hot tamale. No one knows it better than her and how to celebrate it. Go to visit Mississippi.org. Celebrate your culture and history in your own communities. Whatever it is that made you tick 100 years ago, 200 years ago in Mississippi, you won't believe the benefit that could come when the folks that you'll draw in if you do that and you do it right, like today's guest. It was a childhood spent in Greenville, the middle of the hot tamale epicenter, blended with her 30-year career as an award-winning journalist and TV news star and personality to qualify today's guest to literally write the book on the Delta hot tamales. It is that book, Delta Hot Tamales, History, Stories, and Recipes. And, you know, we got a lot of storytellers down here. Published by the History Press in the fall of 2016 that serves up a historical record and a thorough look at the current status of this distinctive culinary treat. She had us locked in. I've said this many times. Every time I do my show down here, she is on stage with us part of the time, and I tell the truth. The bottom line is she was really grateful back in the day. Anything to do with St. Jude, the March of Dimes telethon, she allowed me a stage to play way back when I was a little teenager. So I always feel like I owe her. It
was kind of out of desperation. We needed people to fill time. We knew you could do it.
You were good. How are you interrupting my great intro here? She's not even here. Nobody here. Did you hear that? I love it. Also, she trained Hoda from the Today Show because Hoda was down here. The Mississippi used to be a big old hot market for right, for training a lot of incredible talent. We just never lost this one. So let's get to it right now because she's already joining in because this is really what she does and not what I do. Ann Martin. Hey, Ann, part two.
Good morning, Steve, part two. Hello, Mississippi.
Woo, we love our Mississippi. How's Rosedale? How's the river?
The river's up a little bit. Looks good. Went out to see it a couple of days ago, and it's rolling right along. Speaking of promoting Mississippi, we had friends that were visiting that had not been to the Delta before, and extended family, if you will. And we gave them the nickel tour, and they walked away here. They were here maybe 2 days, and boy, we saw a lot, and had to take them to the river. They absolutely loved it. It.
You ever get tired of that? Because I don't get tired of it. I know.
Tired of telling the story or tired of
No. I know you don't get tired of telling the story. Do you ever get tired of grabbing a cup of coffee, grabbing a Diet Coke, grabbing a glass of wine, whatever it is, and going out and staring at that river like you've never seen it before?
Absolutely never. Because even though it may appear to look the same every single time, there's always some little nuance that's different about it. I love the river. Growing up in Greenville and now living in Rosedale, I've just always loved the river. Never will get tired of it. Never.
I have a bunch of questions that I never got to, and I'm going to may not get to it again, but I've got to ask you this because Jack and Elizabeth Coleman have started Rosedale Distillery. I've had them on my show. They're just wonderful folks. and he's the mayor now of the town.
Yes.
And obviously he grew up there. And she grew up in San Antonio. Now she's a transplant that loves her Rosedale.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that whole venture. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Another, Perry Martin, the stories of the bootleg days, all this stuff, they're going to embrace it. How's it going there?
It's going good. We're waiting with bated breath and a shot glass in hand for Jack and Elizabeth to tell us that it's open. They're ready to go. They are so close. And we're excited, but we've seen so much new businesses. We've seen so much new industry. We've seen so much revitalization happen in a number of Delta towns, including Greenville and Leland. And now it's Rosedale's turn. So, and if anybody hasn't been to Rosedale lately, I invite them to just drive through right now. Just drive through downtown. You will see what's going on. So, we're very excited. Very excited.
So it's not just this big building for the distillery. It's how many buildings? I mean, it's crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah. It's going to totally revitalize downtown Rosedale.
It will. You can tell which buildings Jack has, that Jack and Elizabeth have taken on. And I love it that this is going to be Rosedale's shot in the arm, and Rosedale's going to become a destination point when all this happens. So we've, there's wonderful, all these river towns have wonderful stories, and it's just fun to tell them. And so this past weekend, up until yesterday afternoon, I've had the opportunity to share some of these stories with folks who are not from here. And one person that was in this group originally from Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, they lived in both, and now in West Texas. They had never been to the Mississippi Delta. They'd passed through Mississippi. So it was just always fun to share these stories and enlighten somebody else on this little treasure. And before this whole visit was over, I was talking with my daughter and son and daughter-in-law and son. She's my daughter. I consider her one of my daughters. That the Delta is such a unique place that I love to say, I think it was Faulkner that said there's everywhere else and then there's Mississippi.
Yeah.
Well, I love to say in Mississippi, there's everywhere else, then there's the Delta. And because the Delta is so unique. And I love to try to educate people a little bit about the Delta. Yeah. Because we're different. We've always been different.
We're different. All right. I know I'm different in a strange way. Hey, so, and let me just touch on what you just said. A friend of mine reached out, went to school with Gwen at the University of Arkansas. We became good friends. He ended up living in Charlotte and is retired now, which I don't understand why people retire. Anybody out there that's retired, what are you doing? Unless you're fishing and playing golf every day, I don't want to hear it. No, I understand it. But with that said, he is bringing a cast of about 8 people that have never stepped foot on Mississippi soil. And so he's wanting me to help arrange the entire Delta experience. Plus, he's got to go to get a slug burger in Corinth. He's got to go to Tupelo and visit the Holy Grail of Elvis. You got to go to the Gulf Coast. You got to go to the museums in Jackson now. The Children's Museum, the Civil Rights Museum. You've got these restaurants to eat at, like Sacred Ground along the way. You've got the Gulf Coast, the great restaurants there. You got Cleveland. There's so many Michelin mentions now. Mm-hmm. So anyway. And he's going to come spend a significant amount of time here, of course, go to Doe's and all that. But he's so excited because he can't wait. And he's not from here, but he's sure acting like he is to bring them and just celebrate this land of ours. He goes, they can't wait. And none of them have never been on Mississippi soil, like I said. So he's an Arkansas guy that lives in Charlotte that can't wait to share Mississippi. I
love that. And see, we've run into this a lot with our Viking passengers who, at the end of the show, when we're greeting them and thanking them for being there and having a few minutes to chat with them, and they come into the afternoon, we're going to get a nice show. We're going to get a meal. It'll be fun. And they walk out of there completely changed and mesmerized. And I've heard comments like, I had no idea about the history of the Delta. This is fabulous. And then you end up, because of the experience that they get in Greenville and right here in the Delta, they come back on this cruise again and again, and
we've seen
friends.
it's crazy. We've seen so many repeats.
It's
It's
I
amazing.
know.
It's been a blessing. Let's take a quick break. I haven't asked you one question yet, so
Now,
let's
I
see
want
if
to
we
hear these
can.
questions.
Yeah, well, they're pretty stock, but there are some. A couple of them are significant. I feel. Visit Mississippi.org celebrates. We're in the Mississippi Delta today. Ann Martin, her and her friends Val, and let me tell you what, the late Betty Cameron, wonderful lady, created this incredible Mississippi festival called the Delta Hot Tamale Festival, USA Today's #1 specialty food festival this year for a second time. That's what Visit Mississippi.org is all about. I'm Steve Azar. Stand by with me.
Water, but I do believe we're in cold water, and I shall believe.
Your next customer is searching online right now. Will they find you or your competitor? If your website is outdated, slow, or hard to use on a phone, you could be losing business every day. SuperTalk Mississippi Media builds sharp, mobile-friendly websites that look great and work even better, and they're more affordable than you might think. We can drive customers to your new website with powerful radio commercials and targeted digital ads on Facebook, Google, TikTok, Hulu, and more. Call SuperTalk Mississippi Media at 601-991-2305 or visit stmmdigital.com.
To the class of 20 here on Super Talk Mississippi.
When I was 16, I knew everything.
I promise you, this is going to be the segment. This is our 5th segment. We haven't asked one question that's staring at me right now, but I'm getting to them right now. Visit Mississippi.org. Don't forget to celebrate who we are. And as I've been saying, eat your way around Mississippi is pretty dang special. A lot of great chefs around our neck of the woods. All right, Ann, here we go. A little stock. I feel like I'm asking you stupid pet questions like David Letterman back in the day. All right, what is your most memorable story that you ever covered and why?
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
see that?
Okay. Most memorable thing. Let me.
Should have prepared you, I think.
Oh my goodness. What is the most memorable story I've ever covered? I got to go to the Miss America pageant and cover it one year when Monica Lawrence was Miss Mississippi. That was a lot of fun.
Go ahead.
I got to cover Jacques Cousteau.
Okay, now we're talking.
When he brought in his big ship, whatever he calls it, into the port of Greenville, downtown Greenville, at the yacht club and the old marina. And we were like, oh my gosh, it's Jacques Cousteau. And every reporter in town was clamoring to get down there. Did not get to interview him, but we got to take shots from shore. And I'm really going to date myself. I remember that there was this young man on the deck of the boat taking photographs, and he had on this very fit young man, beautiful curly hair, and had a good looking 35 millimeter film camera in his hand, and bikini, Speedo. And we're all going like, who is that? It turned out to be Jacques Cousteau's son. But yeah, Jacques Cousteau.
Wearing a Speedo in the Mississippi?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, two worlds collided. And, there've been a lot of, I've gotten to interview lots of governors and always enjoyed that. I covered gubernatorial inauguration, and I can't believe I can't remember this. Was it Fordyce who was the first governor, or Mabus who was the first governor to serve a second term of office when we made it legal that a governor could succeed himself?
Terms. Right.
And I went to cover that historic event.
Wow.
Have covered things at the state legislature when teachers were fighting very hard for pay raises.
And now that that's been in the news quite a bit.
They still don't have enough.
No, they don't. They can't get paid enough.
And then I covered an execution at the state prison in the early 80s. It was the first execution they had in like 20, 30 years. That was...
So what was that emotionally like? I mean, you covered it. Were you there?
I was at Parchman. I was not chosen to go in to the chamber.
Would you have been able to handle that, you think?
I don't know. I kind of, at the moment, didn't want to go. But then years later, as executions began to happen more often, I often wondered, as a journalist, could I have gone in? But I think at that moment, I was better prepared to stay on, in the visitor center and outside and get to see all the emotion from the spectators that were there, family members who had not gone back in, and hearing the updates. It was very surreal. And at the end of the evening, leaving, because you're trying to get as much footage and everything as you can, I remember leaving Parchman, headed back to the Delta, and I ended up behind the hearse taking the body of the gentleman who had just been put to death back to the funeral home in Indianola. And, as a journalist, you kind of have to put up a wall on certain things like that and then kind of deal with the emotion later. But,
right.
But those are just, I haven't thought about that in a very long time, but it's, there's lots of, and I enjoyed covering the local people, the feel good stories, the folks that have done good in the community.
Well, that's what the show is. I'll jump from Richard Karn from Home Improvement or Jim McMahon from the Chicago, whoever it is. I'm about to have Nick Baumgartner, who was the celebrity at the Winter Olympics. He comes to our charity event. He won the gold medal at 40 in snowboarding, but this time he made it to the he was in the running. He was just like this far away from making another final, and at 44 years old, and he blew up on social media. But I love interviewing our friends, and I love interviewing, and it started with my dad, because I celebrated Father's Day. I totally went off the beaten path, and I had my both fathers, father-in-law and father, on, and I'll never forget going, I knew nothing significant, these things that they did in their life, until I had to do a little research and prepare. And then when I started asking them questions, the things that I never knew, felt pretty guilty about it, actually. And it also, I got all these text messages and all this stuff that you could just see that people were responding to this type of guest rather than just being a celebrity, and it opened the door to everybody. And so everybody's got these crazy stories if you just allow it to be heard. Okay, now this brings me to question number 2. Okay, I have had Leslie Visser. I've had Linda Cohn from ESPN and Ligori. These are women in media, radio, and TV, especially TV, who broke barriers when it was all about men. You were doing that down here a long time ago when you jumped from radio and into the deep end of TV. How was that like for you as a woman during that time?
It was actually down here, I think, because I was here and I was among friends, it was nothing. It wasn't significant in that I felt like, oh, I've got to do this, or it was easy. It was an easy transition. I started out in radio when I was a senior in high school, and that was a lot of fun. And if I wasn't the first female disc jockey in Greenville, I was the second. I've never been able to completely confirm that I was first. I've heard that there might have been one other person several years prior, a young lady that might have been on the air, but there were no women on the air. And
it was like the music business. There were no women except for when it was Dolly and it was Loretta, and they were like novelty. You know what I mean? So, but when you jump over to the TV side and you're visual, all of a sudden, are you not thinking about sort of the historical significance at all? Because I know you were among friends and everything, but there weren't many of you around the country doing it.
No, because but when we went on the air, when I started with WXVT 3 days before they went on the air. So there was myself and one other female reporter. And there were a couple of folks in the production end that were locals. Everybody else, I was the only local reporter they hired in the newsroom. Everybody else, I take that back. Dave Dunaway was hired.
Oh, Dave Dunaway. Wow.
Dave
blast.
did a community affairs program, and Norma DeLong did something with community affairs, but they weren't part of the newsroom, if you will. And there might have been, when we first, in the newsroom, everything was pretty chill. Getting out into the public, because we were a new station, and we had to help, we literally had to train local politicians and local offices, hey, when we call up and ask for a comment, we'd like you to say something. We had to train the public how to react to us if we were going for a comment, because at the time there was one other TV station in town, but they really kicked up their game when there was competition. So,
Okay.
that's where it got a little dicey.
I don't think you were paying attention at all at this significance. And that's cool because that's you. But you got to look back in hindsight and go, well, I was a part of this.
Yeah. I know. I'm glad I was a part of, being with the station when with it founding. And, but as far as being a woman and jumping, it
doesn't sound like you paid attention to it at all, but there was something going on. Let's take a quick break. Visit Mississippi.org knows a lot about us, and they celebrate it in every nook and incredible cranny that we call the hallowed ground of Mississippi. Go to visit Mississippi.org. We'll be back with the fabulous Ann Martin shortly. By the way, it's Ann Martin Vetrano now, but we're not, her professional name. I'm going with it. Stand by.
I saw the light, sun came up in the middle of the night. Been doing it wrong for so long, I sure ought to know what it finally feels like to be doing it right. I saw the light, sun came up in the middle of the night. Been doing it wrong for so long, I sure ought to know what it finally feels like. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like to be doing it right. I'm still trying to find my way.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
From the Seabrook.
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
She wakes up with a smile, seldom seen before. Gets ready for work, grabs her keys.
Steve Azar here with Ann Martin, now Vetrano. Let me get that right. Hanging out on the farm in Rosedale, Mississippi. Visit Mississippi.org. Excited about the Rosedale Distillery. It's going to be pretty amazing. It is going to single-handedly pretty much revitalize Rosedale. By Jack and Elizabeth Coleman. Jack is now the mayor there. He's a native from there. And Ann has left Greenville and made her way to Rosedale with her husband, and it's a special place there. Check it out.
I may not live in Greenville anymore, but I burn that road up between the two.
You burn that road up.
I'm bi-counting.
You can get you a Tesla and just put it on autopilot, and you don't have to even think about it. You just look at the cotton grow or the corn or the soybeans, depending on what they're growing, and just ride through that tunnel. That Highway 1 over there is gorgeous.
Oh, it is.
I mean,
it's absolutely. It is. It's gorgeous, and I love Highway. I grew up on Highway 1, and then I ended up back at the intersection almost of 1 and 8. So my life kind of came full circle.
That is unbelievable. When I wrote Rosedale, my daughter we were heading to a track meet, and she in Clarksdale, and she goes, "Dad, Rosedale, I wanted to let you know that I'm going to name my baby girl Rosedale." when I get older. And she goes, will you write me a song? And I said, I'm not going to write you a song, but I'm going to write a song. So by the time she was done with the track meet, I had it mapped out in my head, and the next day I played it for her. And then I did the same thing. We're driving to get her a dress. I was put in charge of the prom dress thing. And so I went there, and we was passing Midnight in Louise on the way to Jackson. And she goes, Dad, what's Midnight? It's a town. And I said, yeah. She goes, will you write that? So those are two of the songs that I ended up putting on my Mississippi reunion record. And Cecilia's the Reeds. But Rosedale, even my son Strack, when he was doing a lot of filming, he was very attracted to Rosedale. He goes, what is it about Rosedale, Dad? He would just go visit and just look at the buildings. He just said you could just hear the stories in the walls and all that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's used it a lot in a lot of his film and stuff that he's done over his course of his life. I just love saying the name Rosedale, and I say it a lot in my song. Okay, so let's get back to stupid TV anchor, TV star questions. You ready?
Okay.
What do you got? You want to say something?
I want to go back to the one you just talked about a minute ago. When you were asking me, going into television and being a woman, did I feel like I was, I guess, breaking a ceiling? Novelty, whatever. I think I was so concentrated at that time of doing a good job, and it didn't hit me until later. But it happened a little bit more in the radio part. But because of television, because I was involved in the community, was invited to come to the Greenville Kiwanis meeting, and ended up being the first female member of Kiwanis. Now, that was a little daunting. You're sitting there in a room full of men. And there were some, I think, that probably were like, why do we have a woman in here? Why do we do this? Because the civic clubs had all been male. And then we slowly but surely, all the local civic clubs began to let women in. So I became the first female member of the Kiwanis Club, and subsequently the first female president. But it was a warm welcome.
What do you think took so long for something as obvious as and especially these boards and clubs, with the women do a lot of the work. They're fearless in these things, or at least they get things going. There are a lot of men that are doing plenty of. We've seen both sides, but why eliminate half of the chain that could make things really tick?
I don't think it was, for some of the organizations, I don't think it was anything intentional. It's just things were rocking along until someday somebody said, oh, we need to do this. And everybody goes, oh, yeah, maybe we should. Mm-hmm. You just don't think about it. But yeah, it took a while for the females to get into the civic clubs. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Greenville Kiwanis Club as a member for a number of years. And very happy to say that all the civic clubs around the area now all have females in them. And it's wonderful because, as you said, the women have as much to contribute as the men. And, we all have to work together. It's, if you want to have there's still some organizations out there that want to stay strictly male, that's fine. You go over there and do your thing. And we might talk bad about you, but I think there are certainly places where the men and women can work together. We have to.
Now the truth comes out. All right, listen, let me just say this. I cannot imagine, all the guys out there that are listening to me right now, if we think that we are the boss of our home, everybody just admit it right now. Because I'm going to admit it. I got no shot. I just do whatever. I've been privileged with having a tour manager most of my life, and people that give me my schedule, and when I was on the tour bus days and all that, and that was pretty awesome. And I never thought that was the greatest thing in the world. But when I come home, if I'm the one that has to be her tour manager, and if I don't get this done when I got to get this done, and she'll see me laying on the couch after no matter what, and she'll kind of walk by, and you get this sense of am I not supposed to be laying on this couch right now? I get up and do something. But, Gwen runs the house, and I know that, and I can't imagine leaving women out of anything is what I'm saying.
You can't. And I can identify with Gwen. My husband is a farmer, and there are times of the year where he's gone. And that's great. He's growing products for our country, and I love it. But when we get that stretch, whether it's in the winter or it's raining and he's home, it's like, okay, honey, I need you to do this, and I do this. It's like, why haven't you gotten this done? Huh? I can identify.
Hey, guess what? does this qualify? I've got a handyman coming over doing a lot of the things that I probably should be doing today, but they're going to get done. Do I at all get any credit, or is that a no?
No, I think you get credit because you took care of it. As long as we didn't have to make the phone call, you go take care of it. That's good.
We had some straight line wins the other day or whatever. It took my huge gate and just tilted it.
Ooh, wow.
So anyway, we got a lot of indoor issues. So that's going to happen today. So maybe I'll get semi kudos there. So let's stay where we are real quick.
Okay. Give me another
what advice would you give, or did you give Hoda? And would you give today to women in media?
Just keep after it. If this is what you truly want to do, and I've given this advice to young reporters because Greenville was a training ground.
Yes.
Still is for years and years and years. Young reporters would come in here, and I would tell young women that came in this business, in television and broadcasting, it's really easy. It's very easy. Let me speak some good English here. It's very easy to let your ego get in the way because suddenly you're on camera, people recognize you, hey, I'm in television, I made it. But you got to stay humble. You got to remember why you're here. This isn't about you. The story's not about you. It's about whatever you're covering, but you want to be the best you can be. And if you truly believe in the product that you're putting out, it'll come through. Don't let the bad days get you down. Have fun with it. Take time for yourself. And at the end of the day, when you go home, whether it's at 6:30 after the newscast is over, or it's 11:30 and you've got to be back at 8 or whatever your hours are, give yourself some time. Find the balance, but always enjoy what it is you're doing. And if you truly believe in yourself, then that's going to come through. Stand up for yourself, but be willing to meet the people you're learning from. You can't be a know-it-all. Have an open attitude to take in all the knowledge you can. Ask questions. Listen. And the best way to have a great conversation with somebody is to listen. Listen to what they're saying. Learn what they've learned.
What's that say? Listening. It's right in front of me. You dang right.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the key to everything. I've learned, especially being a media person. So a friend sent me that to remind me while I'm listening to you to not interrupt sometimes, because I often do. Let's take a quick break. I've got the word listening sitting in front of me, folks. It's sitting on a little plaque. Ann Martin Vetrano, but Ann Martin, as we know her on TV, for the many years in radio and in journalism and et cetera, and the co-founder of the best festival we got down here in Greenville, Mississippi, that's for sure, is we've had the Age-Old Blues Festival for 1,000 years, which is historical. And
oldest continuous blues festival in the world. But now we've got this thing called the Delta Hot Tamale Festival, which is groundbreaking. Visit Mississippi.org. Appreciate that. We'll be right back.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Want to learn to sew and
both their computers and smartphones under the brand Apple Silicon, deciding it wanted in-house and in-ecosystem processors for their devices so that it could control all aspects of design and manufacturing, ending a worry about supply chain matters while using processors specifically designed for their devices. But now the Wall Street Journal says Apple will once again work with Intel, a company now 10% owned by U.S. taxpayers. While it's unknown exactly how the two companies will work together, it is believed Intel could be producing Apple-designed chips for them. Apple had been relying on Taiwan Semiconductor for those, and that company will soon be building large fabrication facilities in Arizona as part of a $165 billion investment. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
We're all alone in the river and I don't know whether I'm sinking or swimming with you. It's you and me together, yeah, I don't know.
Got a short segment left. I've gotten to two questions. And I've got 25 here. But I'm not going to ask for part 3. I'll wait a year. But with that said, Ann Martin is my guest today. Visit Mississippi.org. Please celebrate your Mississippi. I'm about to head up into the hills of Mississippi to play a little golf at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club on the Oaks tomorrow. Looking forward to that. If you guys have not played the Azaleas at the Oaks, it's paradise. Golf paradise. And I've played all over the country and different parts of the world, and I can tell you it is that special. Check it out. All right. Ann Martin is my guest today. We're trying to ask stupid media questions like pet questions back in the day of the David Letterman.
Probably another one real quick.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you right now. Hold on. Okay, we're going to talk about the rise of digital. For me, you know, I was a Napster baby. We got slaughtered. And then, our industry wasn't paying attention enough, nor did they think it was going to even impact sales or anything else or the entire future of radio, which would become streaming, etc. And now look at TV. We've always looked at media and TV and film as the big brother, and it would not happen to them, and they'll take care of us on the music side. Seriously, that sort of was the theory behind it all. Had presidents of record labels back then, really smart people, and they go, oh, not going to make a difference. Not going to make. Now we have AI. Now we have all these things. We're learning, you know, when the internet came and that people have brick and mortar buildings and they're selling stuff out of them and they don't get with it and do both, or they're not ready for what's about to happen to them. My last music video, Killing Me, I shot at the Delta Music Institute, the studio, with 3 iPhone cameras. So I had my intern and a couple of the students, one of the engineers and students, and they just had iPhones. We had them stands. One person's moving around, and I sent all the footage to my son in Hollywood, the filmmaker, and he turned this thing into something that I'm going like, it looked like we shot it on the best cameras in the world. And it's unbelievable. The post-production, what you're able to do with the iPhone and turn it into whatever you want. I mean, it's like you're watching a movie. So that's the digital part that's been beneficial when I'm in a hurry, especially when I'm in a hurry and I don't have time to get a big crew in and all that. And man, I got to tell you something. It's a little, you get a little spoiled. When
I was doing the Hot Tamale book and I shot all the photographs, some of them were shot with a, 35 millimeter digital camera. The bulk of the photographs of that book were shot with an iPhone because of places I went into, and it was just easier. And I remember one day the editor sending me a message and said, "You've got to reshoot these pictures. They were shot with an iPhone. We can't use them." And some of these photographs, there was no way to go back and recreate them.
What was the reason for that? Because he was was he like a purist?
I never asked that question.
As long as it's a high, high quality,
high resolution.
High resolution.
I just, you know what I did on some of those photographs? I just resubmitted them, and they took them.
That's so funny. You ought to be ashamed. I love that. That's what
I told a secret.
That's like when we ask for more vocal in the monitor, and they go, "How's that?" And I say, "That's good." And they don't move it. They don't think I can tell. But that's part. Look, we run out of time. Ann Martin, Vetrano, but Ann Martin, as we all know her down here, visit Mississippi.org, just loves everything her and her buddies are doing down here to change the economy in October, and that's the Delta Hot Tamale Festival. Her book is all about the little Delta Hot Tamale.
Delta Hot Tamales,
Hot
History,
Tamale.
Stories, and
Yeah.
Recipes. Third week in October. Put it on your calendar, and I guarantee you the rooms are filling up already for the hotels in October.
You got no shot. Visit Mississippi.org. I'm late. Later on, folks. Have a great weekend. Part 2 with Ann Martin. Love you, girl.
Love you, Mississippi.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
Saving you money, I'm Hillary Barsky. Many Americans are facing mounting financial pressures, but by making small changes to everyday habits can make a major impact on long-term wealth. Last year, nearly 3/4 of Americans failed to meet their savings and spending goals, according to a Vanguard consumer survey. Many people, especially those in their 30s and 40s, are falling into costly traps, including failing to boost emergency savings, delaying investing, and taking on too much debt. Financial experts say it's important to prioritize retirement savings. Missing out on employer matches or delaying contributions can have a long-term impact. Also, don't take on financial debt, which chips away at your ability to build real wealth. And it's critical to save for an emergency fund and start to plan for your child's education early. College costs continue to rise, and many families underestimate the importance that the earlier you start to save, the less difficult it becomes in later years. Saving you money, Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.